So, Kat from Travelzoo. Kat, just back from New York, where you've been for a while working over there for Travelzoo. Just tell us a little bit about what you do.
So Travelzoo is here. I feel a bit of a fraud, actually, because we're not an OTA. So I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing after the session that was just before, but there we go. So what we actually are a global publisher of travel deals, be that holidays, hotels, spas, restaurants and attractions. We work with you to publish your deal and send that to our audience. Our signature product that many of you have probably heard of is the Top 20, which goes out every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. And it really is the best 20 deals for your area. So a really good newsletter. Some people in the industry call it travel porn. So make of that what you will. And another key difference that we are from a normal OTA is that we're non-transactional in the majority of cases. So really, when someone comes to us that is inspired by our content, they're not booking with us. They're booking with the packager, or they're booking with the hotel, or they're buying a voucher, and then they're going on and phoning up the hotel to make that reservation. We have 28 million members worldwide. So we're in New York, which is where I've just come from, just moved back to London. We're in 11 countries around the world. And here in the UK, we have 5 million members. So that's 5 million people interested in your product. And they do love Ireland and Northern Ireland. We've been working with Tourism Ireland for many years now on a huge amount of content, and it's something that they're increasingly coming back to us for. They're taking 3.3 holidays or short breaks a year. So whilst everybody's still going to Egypt or Turkey or wherever they're going, there's still an opportunity for those short breaks, which I think is something that's really, really key in this marketplace. And they're coming to us for inspiration. Where they might be going to an OTA and typing in Paris and finding that particular hotel, they're seeing the top 20 and suddenly they're inspired to take that trip to XYZ. So that's something that I think is our point of difference. And how do we work with you? Well, you are our clients, you are our partners, so you will come to us with an offer. Very often there's a need period for you, and that's something we can help with. We will work with you to ensure that that is a market-beating offer, and that is the really key thing for us. It is, if it's something that's the same and can be found elsewhere, we're not interested. We will talk with you about how we make that better, even if it's by £1. But the point is, it's market-beating. And then we will distribute that offer to our members, to those 5.5 million members, via email, via social, via our app, and equally just CPC-based website activity. So that's us in a nutshell.
Thank you, Kat. Catherine from Expedia. Tell us what you get up to.
Okay, so I'm Business Development Manager within the Expedia Media Solutions team. So first of all, I'll just give you an overview of Expedia, and then I'm going to dive into more specifically about the Media Solutions team. So Expedia is the world's leading online travel agency. We have over 200 websites in 75 countries around the world. The websites that we have in the UK and Ireland are Expedia, Hotels.com and eBookers. So where does Media Solutions fit in within the company? So we help destinations and travel brands market themselves to an engaged audience across our global network of websites. So we have advertising solutions on site, we have social media, email marketing, creative solutions to reach people at every step of the purchase funnel. So whether they're looking to inspire, convert and ultimately drive conversion on our website. But we don't just do advertising products. We build microsites with content, video, bookable hotel deals. And the benefit of working with us is that we can provide you with data-driven insights. So we can tell you about seasonality, search and book trends, when are people planning their trip, how far in advance are they planning to go, what's the average spend, what's the average length of stay, and we can really prove the effectiveness of the marketing campaigns that we run because we can provide you with conversion reporting, we can provide you with year-on-year uplift, we can provide you with market share analysis to see how you're performing against competitors. The data that we can provide is endless, and I believe it really sets us apart compared to the market. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Tim, anything more you'd like to say about what you do?
Not really. I mean, I kind of stood up there for quite a long time and waffled on about TripAdvisor. I mean, I work in the destination marketing team specifically, so I work with the guys at Tourism Ireland and TNI in terms of promoting the destination as a whole. But TripAdvisor obviously is utilised predominantly on a review basis. It's obviously an aggregator where people can compare prices and then go off to different channels to make their final transaction or booking. And there's also the opportunity to book directly with TripAdvisor as well. So there's a huge offering. But yeah, we don't have to go down every single channel.
And I did say I would give you all the chance. If you wanted it to have a right of reply to anything that was said before by Adrienne, does anybody want to say anything before we move on?
I think, if I'm honest, I agree with much of what was said. I think the biggest thing I would kind of point out is, and I think it's possibly the most important thing, is the way that people travel and the way that people behave has changed dramatically. And people utilise platforms like Expedia, like Booking.com, like TripAdvisor at last minute, because they are brand loyal to those places, and there is loyalty to brands like TripAdvisor are trusted and engaged with by users. So I think the biggest caveat is that the travel sphere has changed significantly, and the way people plan and book their holidays has absolutely changed as well. And it's important that we embrace that.
Catherine and Kat, do you want to say anything on that?
And I also think that what she touched on was actually about hoteliers particularly being savvy. So it's not just assuming that route A is the right route for you, but investigating what's out there and deciding whether a mix of it is right for you. And I think that one-on-one touch or that ability to deal with complaints is relevant to all of us. It's like how you deal with it means people are coming back for more. So that's something that's so key now as well.
OK. If folk in this room want to use an OTA or Travelzoo to grow their business, how could they do that? Catherine?
So we know that in the consumer's path to purchase, so we did a study with Comscore recently, and we know that in the 45 days prior to making a booking, travellers actually visit up to 121 travel websites in those 45 days. And the biggest share goes to the OTA, so OTAs actually have 32% share of all that travel websites that people are visiting, so it's bigger than any other hotel, airline, review website. And in the OTA sector specifically, Expedia in the UK reaches 1 in 4 of the OTA customers. So we know that we can be really influential during that path to purchase. And we also know that when people come to Expedia website, they're not just coming to make a booking, they're coming for inspiration and the research phase of their travel as well. So we know that people, they don't even have a specific hotel in mind. They don't even know what destination they want to go to. So 54% of people who come to our website actually have multiple destinations in mind. So by partnering on a marketing campaign with Expedia, you have the opportunity to inspire and influence a new potential audience who might not have even considered coming to your destination previously.
And Catherine, to pick up on one of the points Adrienne made, are your deals deal or no deal, or are they negotiable?
When we do marketing campaigns with the likes of Tourism Ireland or a specific hotel partner, it's not compulsory that there has to be a deal. It can just be more of a brand awareness messaging. But we do ask partners to participate in the deal because we know that if we have a certain percentage of hotels providing an offer as part of a campaign, we only need 10% of hotels to offer a discount for it to be promoted on the advertising banners. So that's the messaging and the content that we build on the microsite. And we know that when we have a discount, even if it's as low as just 10%, we know that that is really going to drive interest from our audience. So the advertising gets higher click-through. That means ultimately we have more traffic going to the microsite to look at booking hotel deals to the destination. And yes, ultimately driving conversion. Yeah.
OK. Kat, what about dealing with you?
Well, I was just thinking about the word deal there,
yeah.
And maybe this perception that everybody has to cut their prices to be able to get business. And what we try to do is, yes, it is all about the deal, and Travelzoo's DNA is about deals. But actually working with all kinds of clients to think about how they can bring added value to the mix. So is that a bottle of wine on arrival? Is that a complimentary upgrade? Is that free parking? Some of these things cost minimal amounts to the client, but the perception and the marketing elements of those things are huge. They reap massive rewards.
Tim?
Yeah, similarly, I would kind of agree with what Kat's saying there. I think from a personal perspective, if I can get a free bottle of wine, that's definitely something that I'm interested in.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. TripAdvisor kind of would aggregate those prices anyway, and users, travellers, they're looking for the best price. So some of the points that Adrian touched on in terms of driving that traffic from Google, that's certainly a must for all businesses. Making sure that they're getting that message out that if there is the possibility to book at a lower price direct, make sure you're featured on aggregators, make sure that you're utilising Google as a search tool to offer that.
I'm looking far overseas. Any tips on how to reach out as far as we possibly can across the world? Any tips?
Yeah, I think that's possibly where the likes of media partners can help in terms of like broadcasting or reaching larger audiences. Like we touched on the size of TripAdvisor and the scope and some of the key markets that are engaging with the destination. Obviously, the UK is the largest, but in terms of growth, and I'll share a lot of this information directly with Tourism Ireland and TNI, in terms of percentage growth from different markets, we're seeing a huge increase, specifically from the US market as well, in terms of interest and engagement.
And have I got this right? What you seem to be saying in terms of one of your big selling points is that, maybe a hotel here, a restaurant here, nobody will know it in the Far East or in Australia or in America, but they know your brand. And that's what you're giving them, the trust and loyalty that comes with your brand. Is that right, Kat?
100%, yeah. You can't afford to market to Americans if you're one hotel in Northern Ireland. What we have, and as all these guys have, are marketing teams and people doing research in the States, for example. So I can tell you that for the last 3 years, Ireland has come up as number 6 as the places the Americans want to visit. We've got 18 million people actively looking for content in the States. So these guys will have the exact same data. And if we can be able to say that, and we can say what Americans want and how you can tailor your offer to Americans, then that audience is there, ready for the taking.
Catherine?
Yes, certainly. I mean, we know that the Americans love Ireland. And primarily they like to go to Dublin or the Republic of Ireland, but I think where the real opportunity lies is to get people to extend their trip and also visit destinations like the Giant's Causeway, the coastal route in Northern Ireland. So by promoting the whole island of Ireland, I think we can increase average length of stay, and we can also increase spend. I think there's fantastic opportunity for Northern Ireland.
Gotcha. Just on that, Cormac's video touched on a lot of the things you've mentioned, the Giant's Causeway, Titanic, the Guinness Brewery in Dublin. Is it those old favourites as such? But if you had any advice to the Northern Ireland market, what should we be putting in along with our own specific business to sort of attract people's attention, Tim?
Yeah, I think obviously the kind of old favourites are what draw people to destinations anyway. But there's the opportunity to capitalise on that engagement. So if we're seeing increased growth with Northern Ireland, for example, or with Belfast specifically because Titanic has been so popular, definitely there's the opportunity there through some of the tools that Isabel touched on with TripAdvisor experiences to kind of grow that engagement and to kind of feed off of that increased desire for Northern Ireland.
Dare I ask, what is our reputation abroad at the moment? Kat, I mean, you've just come back. You've got travel agency in your blood. I think your parents were travel agents.
They were,
you would have seen the image of here change over the years.
Oh, massively. So I have to confess, though, I've been to Ireland once in the last 10 years until I went to St Patrick's Day this year. The food was insane. I came to Ireland and the food, and I went back and I spoke to everybody about the food. I didn't have a bad meal in 4 days. Everything about it. And the same here. And I know a few years ago you did the Northern Ireland Year of Food and Drink. Yeah. And, what that did in the American marketplace for your reputation for food, which has changed massively. The other thing I'd say is the people. We did some research for Tourism Ireland just the last couple of weeks, and the people came out as the main thing as well. And play that up, because everybody's friendly. And us Brits are a little bit standoffish, I'd suggest, but everybody's friendly, and people like that. That's why they come. So that should be used in every one of your marketing campaigns.
Gotcha. Kat, Catherine?
Yeah, I would second that. The people are one of your greatest assets in Ireland. I came to Dublin for the first time at the beginning of this year, and it's so true what everyone says. So from the minute I jumped off the plane to getting in the taxi, I felt like by the time I exited 20 minutes later, I knew the taxi driver's life story. He was so friendly, and it wasn't just him, it was everyone I met. So it was the waitress in the restaurant, it was the tour guide at the Whiskey Museum that I went to. It really is such a great asset to Ireland, and definitely something that brings people back again and again.
So people, food, Tim, I mean, you showed those review figures. It's good to be ahead of England, Scotland and Wales.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you have any indication as to why that is?
To be honest with you, in terms of semantic analysis, no, but I would say the attraction sector's doing a good job. And you see that growth that we saw from, I can't remember how many years we'd spanned there, I think it was 5 years of review content, and the lift up in attraction reviews. That's done a really good job to drive the overall average for Northern Ireland up over that time period. People tend to review attractions more positively than they would maybe a restaurant or a hotel anyway. So, yeah, I think well done, the attraction space. You're doing a great job, and continue.
Good on you, good on you. We're going to take a couple of quick questions from the floor. We're going to finish in about 10 minutes for coffee. Do we have a couple of questions from the floor? Here we are down at the front. Just while we get the microphone to you, bear with us. I think it's Sport Minute. Is it out there that we're hosting the Open next year? Is that out there? Rory McIlroy, is he doing us any favours?
Probably not enough, as it should. Not
Okay.
enough. I think you've got more to go on that.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Mary McGee from Mid-Ulster Council, Seamus Heaney Home Place. I'm just interested in finding out, how do you differentiate yourselves? Who, in terms of segmenting your market? Is it young, old? Is it by nationality? And who should we be looking to then as a new visitor attraction in Northern Ireland? All about Seamus Heaney Home Place. Where should we be positioning yourselves, or do we simply just work with all of you?
Depends how much budget you've got. I'm sure we all probably have slightly different users. I mean, we skew female, we skew 40 plus. If you want the millennial market, maybe we're not quite right for you yet, but we're moving in that direction. And I'm sure these guys have got different demographics. So you probably need to do your research, meet with all of us, and see what feels right for you at the time.
That's interesting. Where do you skew, Catherine?
So in terms of female to male, we're pretty much 50-50, evenly split. And in terms of age demographics, we have the 25 to 35 is really strong, but also the 55 plus. So I think it's reaching the younger people, younger professionals before they settle down, and then those empty nesters whose kids have since gone. They are two of our biggest markets, but we are lucky. We do have a strong share throughout every age demographic. And in terms of ABC1, we have a strong AB market share, so our audience are quite affluent as well and willing to spend.
Empty nesters, I haven't heard that before. Looking forward to that, Dave, for you. Anyway, where do you skew, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what we're saying there, the audience is pretty vast, so it'll be 50-50. For the UK market specifically, slightly towards female, so I think about 51-52% would be female, and then it does tend to be kind of very broad, from 25 up to 55, like you say. The millennial audience is there. But I've kind of got sick of saying that word over the last 3 years or so. Spend household income is on the higher side as well. But I think that's down to the way people are planning as well, in terms of where they're coming to make those purchases.
And is it 50-50 in terms of who does most of the bookings? Is it males or females? Or is there any research on that generally?
I can't speak for everyone, but for us, globally, it will be about 50-50.
50, yeah.
I'd say not for us. I think it's more female decision-making in the home when we do the research.
Oh, why do you think that is, Kat, with your...
I mean, I'm only talking sort of a 5 million audience. These guys are talking millions and millions and millions.
Okay.
So I guess really it's just a smaller audience. I don't know. Allegedly, females make most of the decisions in the house. They do in our house.
Sorry I asked. Does that answer your question? Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Any more questions from the floor? Yes, there we have there in the maroon scarf. Marooned in the middle.
Hello, my name is Avril Hunter from Pear Tree Hill. I'm a luxury bed and breakfast outside of Belfast, but it was for Catherine from Expedia. Very much, Expedia has certainly increased my market of the North Americans, but I get the feeling that Expedia just wants more and more like the other OTAs, in that you're already talking there about, your deals, maybe even giving another 10% away. And it seems a very unfair shift, as I think the lady Adrienne was saying. Is there any listening from Expedia to reduce or to maybe have it in a different format? That, we're not giving away more and more of our business, which is actually your business, because if we weren't providing the service, you wouldn't exist.
Okay. So in terms of requesting partners to provide a discount, that is only something that is done when there is a time of need, and there is a request from the market to really drive bed nights in the shoulder season or in the low season. If there's a short-term need to bring room nights in, then we will reach out to our partners and ask them to be involved. But it's definitely not a requirement that hotels have to provide a discount to participate in a campaign with us. All they have to do is say that, yes, we want to be involved in the campaign, and then they will get their hotel featured on the landing pages, which we build free of charge. So we have all this media which will drive traffic to this page, which is co-invested by Expedia and the tourism boards such as Tourism Ireland. So we are bringing thousands of people to a page with content on your destination and the call to action to book your hotel deal. And these are people who might not have considered travelling to your destination. So we specifically target people who are searching for competitor destinations. So ultimately, we're helping you bring incremental room nights and grow your share compared to other destinations in the UK and Scandinavia and beyond.
Happy with that? Come back.
What I will say is we have account managers from the hotel supply side who are here today, so they will be happy to take questions and talk with you about your concerns in more detail later on today. So if you come and find me, I will happily introduce you to them.
Thank you, Kath. Have we one more question from the floor? One more question from the floor. I've always got a couple more questions, so I'll go very, very quickly. Speak now, forever. Hold your beat. Anyway, the holy grail of the tourism industry is to get people to stay longer and spend more. Are you guys doing anything to help the business here in terms of doing that, Tim?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, TripAdvisor has been pretty active in acquisition, specifically in the attraction sphere and the experiences sphere over the last few years. And the more that we can get people to engage with content for the destination, the more we can get them to make purchases prior to travel. So average behaviour, user makes a decision to go on holiday, books their hotel, books their flight, whatever. And then we want to drive incremental spend in that period after they've made that purchase decision as well. So being able to make attractions bookable on TripAdvisor and benefiting from the scale of the audience there, I think is a positive thing to deliver. And then also when users are in destination, that experience message again, but also restaurants and places to eat.
Thank you. Catherine?
So on Expedia, one of our key focuses at the moment is to increase the proportion of package bookings. So we know that package is typically the length of stay, the average length of stay is longer, the spend is more, so people are spending more time in the destination, they're dining out more, they're going to more attractions. So by really focusing on driving package bookings, that's ultimately going to bring more gross booking revenue to your destination. And equally, we are focusing on attractions and activities in destination. So we have a destination services team who are rapidly expanding across EMEA, and they are really focusing on getting more partners on board. So whenever we do a campaign now, as well as having bookable hotel deals and flight deals, we also add on a tab for attractions to encourage people to consider these as well.
Gotcha. Kat?
Much of the same, really. Working really to incentivise often that third night. So working directly with a hotel to say, can you incentivise the price on the third night to try and get that extra night? Because lots of people are only staying 2, and you want them to stay 3 or 4 or longer.
And how do you do that?
Well, we're working directly with the hotels or the packages. So that's exactly what we're talking about day in, day out, trying to work up that deal that makes it, incentivising for someone to stay a bit longer.
Is it working?
Yeah, I think so. Ask Cormac.
Our campaign has been really good at Travelzoo in the last couple of years, so it's been a really good partnership for us.
Fantastic. Last call for questions. Last question here. The gentleman in the glasses, just behind the pillar. He's behind you.
I just wanted to ask the panel, what do they think that online travel agency is going to look like in terms of consumer behaviour in 5 years' time? Will we be here?
Can you just tell us what you do first?
I'm a self-catering operator in Ballycastle.
Okay.
Small fish.
But a big pond. So it's basically what's the future going to look like? Where are we going?
Where's my crystal ball?
Yeah.
I mean, 5 years is a long time in the travel space. Think what's happened in the last 5 years. I think technology is where it's at, but not just technology from an online perspective, technology in destination, just thinking about facial recognition and all the things that people are bringing to the table now. I think that's where travel is going. I think that's going to affect all of us and everything we do and how we market.
Thank you, Mystic Meg.
Yeah.
Catherine?
Yes, I would agree. Virtual reality, facial recognition technology, these are big emerging trends in technology. And we have been partnering with the likes of Hawaii Tourism on really innovative facial recognition campaigns that are really tailored to the audience. Another thing that I think is a real emerging trend is the use of voice technology. I was at the Expedia Partner Conference in Vegas last year, and they unveiled the ability to make bookings through our site purely using your voice. And I think that in the next couple of years, that's something that we'll be able to do on our website as well. And then in terms of what does it mean for hotel partners, I think that there will always be an audience for booking direct with hotels. I don't think that we will be stealing all of your share. I think that there's room for both OTAs and hotels to book direct. So I don't think you guys will be going anywhere anytime soon in terms of direct bookings.
And Tim?
Yeah, kind of just reiterate those points really. Voice technology is something that I'm finding quite interesting, and I can see that being a pattern. If you look at, I was talking to Isabel last night about user behaviour in terms of, my nephews, kids, they're not really utilising Facebook as much as my generation were when it was launched, and Instagram seems to be a much more prolific space for the younger generation to be involved in. Snapchat was as well, and I can see that those trends continuing to kind of extrapolate, and buying behaviour moving much more towards that, voice recognition and actually directly engaging with a device in your home that can make those purchases and those transactions for you. But at the end of the day, you're the product, right? So, it's going to be the route to market that changes, but the market is still...
More virtual holidays, people will be staying at home.
I don't know, what do you reckon?
Virtual holidays was the question there. I have one last question. Tim, back to the reviews. I don't know how much you know about Northern Ireland society or Irish society generally, but we're quite sensitive creatures.
It's nice.
And none of us like criticism. And I may be wrong, but I would imagine a lot of us are reluctant to even though we think we're offering a fantastic service, to actively go out and say, please review us. Is that what you're saying? That it isn't a fraudulent, distorted system. Go out and encourage people to tell us what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the people are one of the key selling points of the destination. We've already touched upon that. And if you can get that message across through a platform like TripAdvisor, it's priceless to communicate to other travellers how great the experience of your holiday was and how much better it was made by, the staff at the hotel or whoever they encountered on their travels. That's a fantastic tool, and yet there might be the reservation there to kind of not maybe want to engage with people and trying to encourage them to write reviews or wherever that position comes from. But you know, you've got to engage with it. Other people are doing it, other destinations are doing it. You've got to be active.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please thank our panel. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Catherine.